Well, Steve Jobs said that you can't move forward until you know where you've been in the past. You have to connect the dots of your past
Mm-hmm.
to predict the future or go forward. And so my future is so crazy. There's been a reset at every single job opportunity that I've had.
This is the Connected by Water podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Friel. Special thanks to our sponsors, Starbright, Seaward Systems, Olakai, and Yak Gear for their great support of our show. This episode was recorded in our Seaward Systems studio, located on the eastern edge of the Florida Everglades. After this episode, don't forget to head on over to connectedbywater.com and support the brand that brings together a community bound by a passion for the outdoors and a respect for our natural resources and fisheries. We are all connected by water. So yes, 100%, 1,000,000%. Please, bring the noise. That'd be awesome because I love you and I think that would be awesome.
Yes,
right?
the love is
and
mutual.
The cool thing is, it's funny you bring that up because we were talking about that recently. Is that with the Zach thing? This actually is like perfect that you just said that. Oh my God, yes, because we were just kind of brainstorming, like
speaking to us.
Yes, 100%. Like how to like change up the show and how to make it more of like a variety show, like a Pat McAfee kind of style. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Where it's more of like a panel and a board of people and like more fun.
Absolutely,
right? And like a group. So I was like, well, we need to bring in there's some sort of like solid female presence.
I agree.
I like totally believe in that.
And
right?
I'm all about female fishers.
Right.
Like, we hate the word fisherman because that's gone. It's like really there's the fishing people. Mm-hmm. But women are a big part of our future in fishing.
What was that stat that you mentioned to me the other day,
it's
right?
Crazy. The it was actually a statistic I heard at the Miami Boat Show by the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation that said for every 10% more women in fishing, it equates to $1 billion more in revenue for our industry.
Billion with a B?
Billion.
That's awesome.
So I took that information and I shared it with Contender. I'm a Contender dealer. Been for over a decade. Love the brand. Love Joe and the whole
such
team.
A great boat. Such a great company.
It is incredible. He founded it. He lives it. He breathes it. And then I also shared the information with Ryan Higgins and Pat Healy and his sons at Viking because I really want to sustain our industry.
It's another great family.
Right?
Yep.
All about culture and innovation and conservation.
They've been getting showered with all these awards lately, and rightfully so. They have really done a great job for the business.
Well, there's a saying: you get rewarded in public for what you practice in private.
Yeah.
And they don't boast about what they do; they just get it done. Mm-hmm. Success happens. It happens first in the mind, and then second in the grit, and that's what they're doing. It's finally coming out that they're the best in the sports fish. And I believe one of the best manufacturers in the world.
I mean, when it comes to a production sport fish, I don't even know if there's a comparison, right? I mean, it's pretty much, they're clearly like in front of the pack.
Well, at the Palm Beach Boat Show, I valeted. I was at the valet, and this guy goes, "Oh, you're the boat boss. I love boats." And I said, I always ask the young folks, if you were to own a boat today, what would it be? And this one kid goes, a Viking. Mm-hmm. And everyone you ask, so it's either a Contender or a Viking, and the two owners, Joe and Pat, are lifelong friends. They're competitors, but they're collaborators. And that's what I love about what they do, because even though Viking, and then Viking started Valhalla to have that entry-level boat so that if you didn't want to sport fish and you wanted a smaller boat for a tender,
right,
or for,
the finish on a Valhalla is incredible.
Yeah. So, Valhalla Boat Sales is a Contender dealer. So they do sell Contenders as well, but they're in a different, I would say a little bit, Valhalla's up here, Contender's a little underneath it.
Well, Valhalla's, I think it's just a different style, really. Yeah. I mean, it's more yachty. Right. Exactly. But it still gives you that fishing machine that you need, what I mean, on a high premium level, and what everyone knows Contender is like, that's just like the ultimate fishing machine. Right.
You got to get out to the fish fast. If you want to get to the fish fast, efficiently, it really is the best boat on the market, I believe, for that class. We believe less is more with the Contender brand, and I hate to say that, but it is true. There's not a ton of options that break. It's a workhorse. We're seeing more of them as yacht tenders now. since we've seen the Intrepid brand sort of go a different way,
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing more Valhallas and more Contenders as the yacht tender of choice, which is cool.
Right.
I love to see that. But, fishing has become mainstream. I truly believe that fishing is the sustainability of our industry. And we have to get the Gen Zs involved at an
Right.
earlier age, because think about it. When was the last time you asked a kid, hey, do you want a boat? Do you want to own a boat? They're all like, no. And so I don't want to tell you my age, but we need to sustain our industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, listen, we are definitely seeing a generation coming up that is different,
Yes.
right? And I know everybody always says that about the generations that come up, and we've seen generations that have come up that have been like, okay, oh, that generation, you roll your eyes out of me, like, but they're still like, they still have like that analog quality to them of living like a tactile life. And this generation coming up it's very hard to give them a tactile life. Like, we make it a point, like with our kids, I got a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, 12-year-old boy, 15-year-old daughter,
That's good.
right? I think there's no secret. I talk about like my kid playing hockey, like on like every episode. So my son plays hockey, but the biggest reason that we promote that more than anything else is that he spends enough time on the computer. He's a smart kid. He codes in C++ already.
Perfect.
All this stuff, right? But he loves video games too. Try to limit that as much as we can.
Okay.
But the thing we promote the most is the hockey, because it gets him away from the screen. It gets him continually moving. It's physical quality with the stick and the puck, and there's a lot of touch points there.
Well,
I
it
think
sounds
those
like
touch
these-
points, and boating is just like that. It's just touch points. It's you're outside, you're outdoors, and it's just a better way for your endorphins and your mind to live.
Well, let's talk about hockey. Let's take a second.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out. I'll tell you what, Bill Zito is a friend, him and his wife, Julie. She's a cancer survivor. Bill's a client of mine. What an amazing organization.
They're beautiful people. They really
The
are.
culture, I call Bill the culture king.
Yep.
If we could all learn from Bill, I think Bill's going to be the next Tony Robbins.
So Bill he's one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life.
Great guy.
He really is. I mean, he gave me the opportunity with the Panthers, because I painted like 5 Panthers already so far. I just finished up my last one, right? So I got commissioned to do 2 for the Coconut Creek Casino, and then Bill asked me to do 3 of them. So I did 1 for Gretzky, I did 1 for Marino, and I just finished up the ones for the Olympians.
Yes.
So we had 10 Olympians on our team.
Love it.
Right? And should I name them all? Right? Uvis Valinskis, Sandis Filmanos, right? I'm looking at my Panther right now while I mention this, right? You had the Finns, you had Lundell and Lustranen and Nico Mikkola, and then you had Gus Forsling was for Sweden, and then you had the Canadians, you had Marchand, you had Bennett, you had Reinhardt, and then you had Matty Tkachuk, right?
When you think about it, all of them are not just hockey players. Back to your son.
Yeah.
They're all boaters. They all live in most of them live in East Fort Lauderdale. They're addicted to fishing. Some of them bass, some of them salt. I love that about the hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the right track with your son, definitely. But, Bill has built an incredible culture, and then the whole corporate social responsibility strategy of getting cancer out there. And him and Julie have raised, I think, like well over $1 million.
I think
right?
their goal originally was $1 million. I don't know where the number is at. I think they're beyond it at this point. So
I believe so.
It's been such a great program. They've raised up a community over this whole entire thing, and that's what Connected by Water is all about. Is putting a spotlight on people doing that. So we try to do too.
I love it. So I had a conversation with Bill the other day. I said, you really need, one of the posts that the Panthers did, I put FOE. It was all the players on the ice, and they had kids on it, and I put FOE, family over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Bill, I said, you need to incorporate that into the Panthers motto, because it's all about family. He goes, you know what, Kim? I like it because it has 2 meanings. Family over everything, and fuck off everyone.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
You can see we're a safe space for
F off everyone.
profanity.
Because our guys love to celebrate, and what's so bad about that? Where people hate us because of our success, and we celebrate hard, and we should. We're a beachside community with one of the best, if not the best, hockey team in the world.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, I love that the players and Bill and the organization have embraced the whole fishing community and really crossed that bridge with fishing and hockey. I mean, it warms my heart. I mean, I've been a Panther fan since the beginning.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and I've also been fishing ever since I can remember.
I know.
So to me, it combines two loves for me. So of course I love it, right?
And think about the city. The city, it was a public-private partnership where we took War Memorial, that whole, holiday park, and we changed it into an ice complex. And so it's that public-private partnership between the county, the city, the Panthers. We raised money, and now all of our players take their golf carts to practice.
Right.
The community can watch them practice. It's all about building that culture of both inside, we call it the internal client, which is their team, and the external clients, which is all of us. We love the Panthers.
Last Friday, I took my son out to the Iceplex.
You did?
Yeah,
How was it?
and well, they have what's called a stick and puck out there, where you're allowed to go on the ice and have like an hour of just free hockey time.
I love
right?
that.
So I go on the ice with my son. I have to get all geared up because it's the rules. So I'm not the great knocker there, right? So, but I go on with
You
him.
have your helmet and everything?
Yeah, everything, 100% full.
I
Like
love
I can give John some videos that he could roll in, right? And I just feed him one timer so my son can work on his shot, and it gives us some time together. When we get there, right? Kachuk, Barkov, and Lundell were on the ice practicing.
I love that.
Like before we're about to hit the ice, they're just right there, and they're like waving to my son and everything.
That's so
like
great.
So to what you were saying, it's like they are definitely a part of the community here, and they're the Broward's
They are.
pride.
They are, and they're touchable. They're not like standoffish. Look at the parades. How they were so close to the people and celebrating at 11 and Elbow Room and all the places they went to. I mean, they're all about community and family.
Yeah, they are. And go Panthers.
Right.
We'll be back next year.
I know. Well, I think
Come
we
on.
just needed a break. We
That's
just needed a break for this time, but we'll be back for sure.
100%. All right, listen. Before I formally introduce you, okay, I have to. Every episode we have to mention our Starbright do-gooder of this episode, and I want to mention. All right, this is an easy one for me because usually the nominations come to me from like other places, but I'm nominating someone this episode.
Nice.
And that's my very good friend Jessica Sweeney, right? And she is an amazing artist. And we work together with Starbright. She's going to be actually by the time this episode airs, the event would already have happened up there at the Old Fish House in the Indian River Lagoon in Grant Valkyria / Sebastian, Florida. She was with Derek Redwine and I last ICAST live painting at ICAST, and she is just an amazing human being.
I love
She's
it.
an incredible artist, and she does all this work with us, the Starbright, for conservation and the restoration and preservation of our natural resources. She's been putting in the work. She's been doing a great job.
Love it.
So this episode's do-gooder of the week or episode, whatever we want to call it, is my good friend Jessica Sweeney.
All right,
And
let's
she is
let's
amazing.
follow her on social. How do I find her?
So she's at J Shipley. I think there might be a number there.
All right.
I'll get that.
Yeah,
for
put
you.
that on the screen or something.
Yeah,
That'll be
John will
great.
put that
I
up
love
on the
to
screen. It's
give away.
Jay Shipley. If you search Jay Shipley on Instagram, you'll easily find her. So,
Well, congratulations, Jessica.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Listen, she is awesome. She's just the coolest, right? Really. Before we get back to the show, here's something I use every time I fill up a tank. I add Startron enzyme fuel treatment from Starbright to my fuel for my boat, lawnmower, anything with an engine. It's designed to keep fuel fresh, help prevent ethanol-related problems, and keep engines running smoother and starting easier, especially when your gear sits between trips. You can find Startron enzyme treatment at most tackle shops and even Walmart in the automotive section. Add it every fill-up and keep your engines ready for next time you're ready to hit the water. So if you want to nominate a do-gooder in your area, just message us on Instagram or Starbright's Conservation Director, Corey Redwine, and your nominee could win a very special Starbright Solutions prize pack worth well over $200, or you can nominate yourself if you think you're amazing too. Ain't no shame in that game. We love it, right? So as always, thank you to our sponsor, Starbright, Seaward Systems, Yacht Gear, and Olakai for their great support of our show. Today's guest is the legendary South Florida industry queen of them all, Kim Sweers, a.k.a. the Boat Boss. What's up?
What's up? It's so funny how that whole thing created, how it came to be. But
You've got such a
yeah,
great platform.
thank
It
you.
really is amazing.
Thank you.
Like I love it. Like it's so entertaining,
It's
and
super
you do
fun.
a lot of good with it,
Thank you. I
right?
have.
We
Yes.
touched on the whole Panthers thing just now. With Julie being a cancer survivor, you also
Yes. Yes.
have had a battle with the big black bastard,
Yes, I
right?
did, but I
Whatever it
caught it
was.
early
Yeah.
on. It was just something your body will tell you. As I say, God will whisper
Right.
until God screams. And so my whispers were there. Can I give you the middle finger? But this finger was turning purple all the time. Like it was the weirdest thing. It was getting numb. So that was one sign. My back was hurting. I was super tired. And then the one family photo we took where I had like a crop top on, you could see that there was a big brown spot in the photo all the way up here.
Really?
And so there was all these signs, and then the last sign was I went to the gym, and this woman, I was one of those P90Xers, remember?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
did it twice because once wasn't enough. That's if you know me, I do it big. And so I was at the gym, a woman walked up to me and said, "You shouldn't be wearing your phone in your bra like that." And I was like, "Why?" She goes, "Because it's brain cancer. All the studies show that it's linked." So I came home and I mentioned it to my then husband, and I said, he's like, "You shouldn't. Just get one of those arm bands."
Mm-hmm.
So I did. And then about 6 months later, was getting, I was at the spa, and one woman that was, doing some stuff and makeup and stuff, she was the one that found it.
Really?
She's like, "What is this spot here?" And I would remember exactly where I was at. Is that Elizabeth Arden Spa at the Galleria Mall. And I think it was that spa. But anyway, and I was like, well, that was weird. So it was all those signs. So God was whispering. God was
Right.
like, this. And so I made the appointment, and the doctor said, "It's nothing. We're just going to watch it." And I said, "This isn't nothing because there's too many signs." And so they sent me off for the first in the many of tests. And the first was the mammogram, and the mammogram was okay, questionable. And then they sent me to the ultrasound, and the ultrasound came back as what they call a BIRAD5. And that showed that it was potentially cancer. They had to do a biopsy. They could not do a biopsy because of where it was located,
Mm-hmm.
next to a vein. They said, "You're going to bleed a lot, but we're just going to remove it, do a biopsy, take it out, completely test it." Doctor came out and said, "You're fine. Doesn't look like you have cancer, but we're going to send it off anyway." A week later, I had cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had breast cancer, but I caught it early. We hadn't metastasized throughout my body. It was a higher chance of reoccurrence because they do take the cancer and the markers to tell you the reoccurrence factor. So I had a higher chance of reoccurrence, but over an 8-year period, there were some ups and downs, but I made it through.
Wow.
And I'm cancer free, but it was a lifestyle change.
I was going to say, how
did
did
it
that
for me.
change you?
It changed me because every day you wake up, you should just be happy to be alive.
Yeah.
It's an attitude of gratitude now. So I'm super grateful for everything that happens in my life. And even if it's a bad thing that happens, it's really a lesson. What is the lesson that you're being taught from this? The message and the lesson. And if everything bad happens, then just saying, okay, well, let's take a step back. What did I learn? And then you just become 1% better every day. So for me, that was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second, sugar. Bad.
Right.
Cancer loves sugar.
Sugar's like the worst thing for you.
I
right?
love sugar.
Well, who doesn't?
If I could shoot it in my veins, I would. Like I was the type of person that ate, like the Pillsbury frosting
Right.
out of the can.
Oh, you were hardcore.
I was hardcore.
Wow.
I would just scoop that out.
That's another
eat it,
level,
yeah.
him.
I loved everything, like candy corns. It was straight sugar.
Right.
And so sugar, I had to divorce sugar. Yes, that was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol, reduce alcohol. And that was a thing for me.
I just quit drinking.
Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah, I
Good
did.
for you.
Just because, it's funny when you say that, like, everyone thinks, oh, he had a problem. But
Yeah.
it was more of because of my heart issue, the stuff I went through with my heart issues. And my last, issue that I had, I just told my doctor, I'm like, I think I'm just going to stop drinking. And he goes, I would.
Good for you.
That. And I'm like, okay. Not like I had, a problem. It was an issue. But it's like, every now and then I'll be like, love to have a drink right now. But it's really not enough to outweigh.
It is toxic.
Yeah.
And so when you put it in your body, so for me, I was a daily come home, have a glass of wine or a martini, whatever, that stopped.
Right.
But what really transformed my life was sleep.
Mm.
So cortisol which is a stress,
Yep.
obviously, that happens when you're fighting to go to sleep. You know, when you're trying to stay awake because your friends want you to go out, or your spouse or partner, like, stay up and watch TV, and you're like, trying to stay awake. No more. The moment that I get tired, I just go to bed. So it could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 10, and I sleep as long as I possibly can. No alarm clock, and I wake up pretty much every day about 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I hit the gym.
Really?
Yeah, I'm about 4, between 4 and
Like you
4:30.
really reset your clock.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
And so hit the gym by
That's what
5.
they say. Like you wake up early like that. It's like
Yeah.
you rule the day.
Yeah.
Or you feel it that's happening for you?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's really the golden hour. It's the key to success. If you follow a lot of the most successful people in the world, either they do it in the morning or they do it at night, but they have that 3 hours of no communication with anyone, where they're just working on themselves,
Yeah.
their strategy. And so that's what I love. I love getting up early. No one really bothers me until about 7-ish is when, the world starts.
Really important
It
to
really
get that
is.
time to yourself.
Yeah.
The work time.
Yeah.
Because you can do you don't realize how you get pulled from left to right like all day long when the rest of the world is awake. You're right.
Yes. That's why I don't understand when people are like, oh, I work out at 5. I have so much in my brain at 5
Yeah.
that I'm like, 2, 4, 8, screw it. And then I go, it's like I don't really get a really good workout in. But first thing in the morning, I wake up, I have a bunch of protein, head to the gym, work out, and then breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's like 3 meals. That's it. I cook most of my meals myself because of cancer now.
Wow.
And sleep and really just eliminate as much stress as possible. And
Yeah, that's great.
fishing is great for that.
Yeah, right. It's great. So, I mean, you sent me those pictures of your
Yes.
Pacific haul.
It was the
We'll
best.
call it, right? Because I was like,
Yes.
wow, and those
Yeah.
mahi were huge.
They're
That you
huge.
caught in the Pacific.
That was my first Pacific run, and
Yeah.
it was a Contender. The top 5 Contender dealers were taken on an awards trip, and I was put on a boat with Joe's wife, Joe Niebuhr, the owner and founder of Contender,
Mhm.
Diana. So it was her, and she's a hardcore fisherman.
Oh, yeah?
Fisher person. So she catches this mahi, and here I am, like, I didn't know what to expect. And so we go 50 miles out. I'm like, are we ever going to get there? And my phone stopped working. I'm like, how am I going to do 10
So
hours?
Where is this?
It's in Guatemala.
Guatemala.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may have said that. I may have
Yeah.
missed it. Yeah.
And a huge shout out to Dave Salazar and his wife, Kristen. I know
Yep.
Dave has since passed. It's an unfortunate situation, but because of Dave and Kristen, his wife, Kristen, and Casa Vieja, they say you never forget your first love. You never forget your first sail.
Right.
And so when Diana caught her first mahi, and it was like this big,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is not Florida. We're not in Kansas anymore." And I
Yeah,
thought to
no, it's a
myself,
different, it's
Oh
almost
my
like a
God.
different breed of mahi
It
completely.
is.
Yeah.
It is. And we hunted for the trash. We had to find the great trash,
Right.
whatever they call it there. And so we found the trash, and that's where all the fish were. And it was just an incredible experience. And so fishing, I fell in love with really saltwater fishing, like sport fishing that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back another time, and I truly love the sport now.
Right.
I love to work out. There's such a workout in sport fishing.
Especially when you're catching
crazy.
fish that big.
Yes.
Right. And those Pacific sails, again, it's just like a different breed of sailfish. They're like twice as big and 10 times as strong.
I know.
Yeah.
I had like TMJ from like biting and like reeling it in. I was sore and stuff like that. But I do remember it took like 18 minutes to reel one in once. And I was like, it was a tough,
Yeah.
it's a tough day for me. Diana and the woman I was with fell asleep on the boat. And so I had to catch a lot of the mahi myself. So I was
That's for you.
really sore. But really, such a great way for anyone really to experience fishing is to go to the Pacific. So many great locations.
Especially Casa Vieja.
Yeah,
They've really built something special there.
have.
Right. And yes, God rest David's soul. But Kristen's doing such a great job down there.
She is.
And she took it all in stride. And, I've been fortunate enough to meet her a couple of times, and great human
I
being.
just will give a little kiss to Kristen and say you're doing such a great job, and Dave will forever live in all of our hearts.
Sure
That's for
will.
sure. Yeah.
Lots of tributes around for him, and rightfully so.
Yeah. He was a big supporter of fishing and conservation and just women too in fishing, just fishing all around. And just an amazing, and he was so good to his people. You know, I truly believe in catch and release as the sustainability of the asset that lives in our oceans.
Right.
But when it came to the mahi, and we would catch tons of them, he would just send his people home with the fish. And then it's just like, they were so loyal to him. And I really loved that about the culture of that resort and their organization.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that it's all still going
Yeah,
strong.
it
You know,
is.
and they're growing and they're building more
Yeah,
and they're doing great
renovating.
things with it. So
Yeah,
you're truly following his vision and his dream, and it's just great to see.
it
It's
really
just
is.
really great to
But I
see.
have yet to fish Costa Rica. I'm really excited about, entering into that area soon. I
hmm
hope to.
So an interesting thing about Costa Rica, it's a wonderful place, right? It really is. It's God's gift to fishing, right? It really is, and
Yeah.
it's just we can't get down there enough. We're gonna be heading down. We didn't get down this year, but we're gonna be heading down next year to the IGFA Open, right?
Okay.
They have that down there in Costa
All right, well,
Rica
pack me
at
up in your
marinas.
luggage. I'll go.
Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
carry your luggage.
if you're gonna go down there now, everyone likes Los Sueños,
Yeah.
and Los Sueños is a great place.
Mhm.
But what they've been doing down there in Capos at Marina Pezvela has just been really, really great. They're building something special down there too, talking about building something special. Marina Pezvela doing a great job. The IGFA Open is going to be there every year. And this was the second year. I do all the artwork for it. So, all right, so maybe I'm a little biased,
A
right?
little
And
biased.
well, we also hugely support the IGFA here. We talked earlier about, Zach coming on the show more as an
Yes.
IGFA representative. And, that's what we do with Connected by Water. So we try to build those bridges and work together with the companies and the people that are doing good in the community. Because Connected by Water to us is, yes, it's fishing, it's art, it's like all these things, but it's
Conservation,
community, right?
yeah.
Conservation, right? It's all that, but it's all the all-encompassing, and it's the people that glue the whole thing together.
Oh,
And it's the
absolutely.
community, and that's what Connected by Water in our hearts really, truly is, right? So
I love it.
all those things, right? I know we're talking about Costa Rica, but I just want to shout out to the IGFA. That's why we love pushing the IGFA, because they encompass those ideals as well.
And also, let's talk about the Billfish Foundation.
The Fish Foundation, what
I mean,
Ellen's doing
Ellen,
over year.
I love her. I love what she's doing, her team, and it's all about catch and release and sustainability of the
Mhm.
fish, the assets in our playground.
Yeah,
I think
and
they're
she's
just-
doing it from a very a very intelligent standpoint. Like they're not just raising awareness. They're actually using science. They're using math. They're using all of her.
Well, she's a
It's
lawyer,
all
right?
her.
She's a lawyer, somebody
She's-
shade or
I
something.
think
She
she's
says
just
uber
she's
smart.
just a superior human being. I think really when it comes down to it all.
Yeah.
But it's a very smart organization. 100%.
Well, think
Yeah.
about it. Sport fishing, I heard the statistic that it's like $235 billion industry.
Yeah.
That's huge. Amount
Yeah,
of
it's
revenue
huge.
and millions of jobs that we create, the communities that it feeds. And that's what I'm trying to get. I'm going to Washington for the American Boating Congress.
Really?
Yeah, I go.
When are you
it's my
doing that?
second year, May 3rd to the 6th.
Mhm.
And so we go to Washington. We talk about what's important to us, whether it be the luxury tax, tariffs, safety. I'm really pushing safety this year. Fishing. It's really important that we protect our waters.
Yeah.
And so I plan on going up there and talking about how we really do need to, as much funding as we can for conservation. We had a great success. The NMMA has been huge for us.
Right.
Frank and his team,
There's been a lot of talk recently in the last couple of years about the blue economy,
mhm,
right? And everyone's supporting the blue economy,
Yeah.
which is so important here in South Florida,
it is.
right? With
$12
Miami,
billion.
Fort Lauderdale in particular, right?
Yeah.
Where you're at, where you're based out
Yes.
of, and with the yachting capital of the world, the Venice of America, whatever name you want to
yeah.
give it, right? But it is really what
Yeah.
makes it a special place, right? At
It
the end of the
is.
day, if it doesn't have the waterways that it has, and it doesn't have the fishing community, the boating community that it has, what is Fort Lauderdale?
Well, it's more than just a special place. It's second behind tourism.
Mm-hmm.
So if we lose boating, we have to be so careful. And everyone's like, they get upset about the boat shows. They get upset about so many things about our industry. But behind tourism, we're second in the industry in regards to what feeds our community.
Right.
So many of the yachts that you see, think about all the incremental business that comes from that yacht. And they come in to do their refit, repower, whatever it might they need, whether it's change of ownership. But think of all that revenue that gets really, injected into our community. But the world needs to understand that we're not just about the 1% having a fun, hobby. It's a
Right.
true economic feeder.
I always respond that way too when people ever complain about, oh, why does that guy need to have that
Yeah.
big boat? I'm like, really? Do you know how many people that guy employs? Do you know how much money goes into the economy because of that boat?
Yes.
Really, a lot.
I know. We were just talking about I was reading about the Fed ship that they just launched. It was Bill Gates' boat, and it has like 44 plus crew members.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's like how many people it employs, and then those people go to gyms, nail salons, hair salons, grocery stores, wherever it's docked everywhere, and it's an enormous amount of revenue that you don't realize.
Yeah, from my standpoint, people have asked me, for like, oh, would you love to have a boat like that?
Yeah.
Me personally, no. I wouldn't be able to afford it. Are you kidding me? You can't afford the staff. I can't afford the gas. Like, that boat would cost me money, right? But for guys like that can afford it, right? Does a lot of people a lot of good.
Well, for the record, Dennis, I wanted a boat like that.
Well, I want a boat like that if I could pay to keep it up, but personally. But,
No.
yeah.
But when you think about fishing, let's go back to fishing. Like there's bait shops and dealerships that they buy boats from, and service. There's so much incremental business to what we do that I don't think it's recognized enough. So going to Washington helps us make them more aware of how important we are to the global economy, and really in the United States as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. Take me through a little bit, right, about the beginning of your role in all of this.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you got the FB Marine Group, right? You're the contender queen, like all that, but it didn't start out that way, right? So, like, how did you evolve into this? I mean, you got, and I want you to talk about, if you can, like your incredible platform.
Thank you.
Because you really built something really cool, and I think, listen, with a lot of people that watch and listen to our show, there are a lot of other like influencers or whatever, you know what I mean? And I think it'd be interesting to get your perspective on what it took to build that.
Yeah. Well, Steve Jobs said that you can't move forward until you know where you've been in the past. You have to connect the dots of your past to predict the future or go forward. And so my future is so crazy. There's been a reset at every single job opportunity that I've had. So I was a great swimmer, put myself through college on a scholarship. So I kicked ass. So when I went to my job at the city of Miami Beach and I applied to be a lifeguard, creamed all the guys, like whoop, I was out of the water, and then the guys were still behind me. I didn't get the job. And
what?
Yeah, because I was like a little skinny thing. So then I ended up, finally they said, okay, let's give you the job, me and my twin sister. I have an identical twin sister.
You do? There's two of you?
There's two of me. Crazy.
God help us all.
Right? Be careful. And so they taught us how to, search and rescue and be lifeguards, and so they hired us, which was great. And so from there, because I like to talk a lot, as you can see, no problem. I'm not shy of the microphone or the camera. They put me in a thing called the management training program at the city of Miami Beach. And I went through all the departments over a year, studied everything from planning and zoning to HR to Parks and Rec and everything, police, fire. And they said, she's great. She speaks well. We're going to make her public information officer. And also I like to write, so they made me a grant writer. But the problem is my brother was a lieutenant fire chief at the time.
Okay.
So my brother knows I like to pass out. Not that I like to pass out, but I see blood, guts, I'm out of here.
No,
Yeah.
really?
So I was like public information officer, and I would come into the scene. And I remember this one where I was at the Fontainebleau penthouse, and walked in, a guy blew his brains out and had like calcified. His brains were like, and he was looking down. And so my brother thought that was really funny about having me look at that. So of course I passed out. So from there I ended up staying with the city for about 5 years. Then they had civilian layoffs, because when there's budget cuts, the civilians get cut. I was cut. And that was really, hard for me, because I really loved what I did.
Okay.
It taught me how to speak impromptu. I can have questions fired at me, because when you're a public information officer for police, fire, and ocean rescue, questions can be a little difficult. Yeah, so from there, I decided that, what else am I going to do? Let's be, the movie Wall Street came out. I became a stockbroker and worked for Prudential, and that was really, really stressful for me. worked there for a few years, and then decided to go build data networks around the world. Recruiter called, and for me, that was my true love, was technology.
Really?
Was connecting the network access point in Miami
Okay.
to England, to South America. And so my role was to build data networks around the world. And that's where I realized that we were going from copper to fiber optics. So you go from these big pipes down to these little, fiber optic tubes that have so much capability. And it really transformed our world. That's when the internet boom happened. I learned so much about routers, equipment, everything from fiber optics, sold and did very well there. And then the internet bust happened.
Right.
Remember that in 2001?
Yeah.
And the dot bust, as they call it. And so the company I worked for, out of business. And then my husband at the time, had a very small brokerage firm. And I started to work there, sending my resume out. But when you go from a vice president in corporate America, it's hard to, find another job when we were in a little bit of a depression back then. It was not a great market. So I started to realize, look around the dealership about what are the things I've learned at corporate America, and I brought them to the dealership. And just turned it in from a very small brokerage into a full one-stop shop boat dealership. Same concept as a car dealership, but we do boats, brokerage, sales, new, pre-owned, brokerage, parts, service, financing, the whole thing, yacht management. And so we've been in business now for 30 years almost. And yeah, so I love what I do. I have the best team. They're really good at what they do.
And just like keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like, I mean, well, you guys were originally, you were on Federal Highway there.
Yes.
Right. And now you guys are in a bigger facility.
Yeah. We took our dealership digital.
Okay.
When the pandemic started to, rear its ugly head. I saw it before everyone else did, because I sit on the board of a hospital in Tampa, and we were talking about some sort
You sit on a board in a hospital in Tampa.
Yes, that's where I was treated. So Moffitt Cancer Center is where I was treated, and I spent a lot of my time. And Marty Huizenga, as you know who she is, she brought me up there, and she said, "This is home. This is where you should be treated, and you pay it forward after cancer." So after Marty passed, I joined the board, and I've been doing great work up there. We've been really solving a lot of cancers, curing cancers, and really it's one of the top national cancer institutes in the world. So yeah, so I ended up. See, I just lost my train of thought.
About the digital. Took in the dealership digital.
Oh yes, so you're right. So I ended up knowing that something was coming down the pipe.
Right.
Doctors were getting sick.
I sidetracked you, by the way.
You did.
So I apologize.
It's okay. It's all your fault. But the nurses, we kept seeing masks on our, patients coming in, and it was contagious, whatever it was. So they started making changes, and then I, as a business owner, said we should probably be doing the same. We don't know what this is yet.
Right.
So in late 2019, early 2020, we started, as our leases came up, we started closing our dealerships locations and focusing on digital world. The customer of 2025 is a 2020 was a piece I read, and then 2025 was all about leading with experience. And every touch point needs to be great, and you don't need the brick and mortar. And so that's what we did.
Right.
So we focused on digital, customer experience, us going to the client versus them coming to us. And it worked.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
And we've done a similar thing too. I mean, that's why we are in the Sweers Systems facility, but the studio on the beach is no more, because at the end of the day, our e-com business was killing anything we were doing in brick and mortar. And then why would I want to have the commute and then the overhead and like all that stuff like that? And just the headache of running a facility. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore.
So much of a headache. So when all the dealerships were scaling, we were downsizing. And then right when the pandemic hit, we really only had one location in Fort Lauderdale and then one in Riviera Beach, because we had closed our other ones. And now we're just one location in Fort Lauderdale. But I have to say that digital is the wave of the future. And so when the pandemic happened, boats were selling. Remember how it was like, it was like, and now it went, because people realized, if I get out of the four walls of my home and I live in South Florida, I can boat. I have freedom. And so we were putting out there sold, 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 sold. And I did a post. I love music. I love music and
Really?
fishing and boating and cooking. And so one of the things I posted was on DJ Khaled's closet. Have you ever seen it?
No.
I'm going to send you
His
the photo.
closet?
His closet is like,
With all the sneakers?
yes.
Yeah, all right.
And he has
I
a
think I do know what you're
bed
talking about.
inside of it. Or he's a bed inside of his
There's a
closet.
bed in his closet?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to sleep among all those shoes too. So I posted that, and a good friend of mine, I'll say only his first name. It's David, and you know who you are.
Okay.
He sent me a message, and he said, "Do you really think this is the right message you should be sending? People are dying, businesses closing, people are getting fired, and all you're doing is talking about your success." So I had already trademarked Boat Boss. Didn't know what I was going to do with it, and then through that one message about, is your message right for this time? I said, okay. That was, again, God speaking to me, the universe, a friend. And so I turned my platform of really, it was self-fulfillment, of bragging, and then I turned it into an education, storytelling. Why is boating good? How to do it? Where to do it? And it just took off. And that's how Boat Boss evolved. And it really came from Cake Boss, the show Cake Boss.
Right.
And when Carlo's Bakery was successful of a little bakery, I said, well, they have that little bakery and I have all this. I can do the same.
Yeah.
And did that. Hugo Boss actually came and said, tried to prevent me from using the name, but we had already trademarked it. So again,
they think they own the word boss.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
In every capacity in the world.
Yeah. But you know what? It's hard to fight something that big, and it's expensive.
That's their hope, right? That's their hope. And I can't stand companies do that because they think that they're bigger than you and they can throw all the money in the world of lawyers at you.
I know, but they succeeded.
You were able to withstand it?
We actually, I'm all about collaboration.
Okay.
So we put together a coexistence agreement. I agreed that I would not mass produce merchandise with Boat Boss all over it.
Okay.
And it became an entertainment mark.
Gotcha.
So I'm allowed to do a few SKUs and things like that.
Right.
So it's all about coexisting, in the world. It's sort of like the path of, let's just go the easy way, figure it out, everyone gets along, collaborate, and that's what we did. And then I've just been blowing up the brand through just education, initiatives that are important, sustainability of our industry, promoting mentorship, not just women, but pulling that, I do a lot of public speaking, and one of the speeches I did was earning your seat at the table and keeping that seat.
Okay.
And so how did I get to the table? But then we also have to pull that seat out for the next person that's going to really be the next generation after me. And there's not enough of that in our industry.
Yeah.
People are very competitive. And I collaborate with so many brokers, so many companies. I mean, you see, like back to Viking and Valhalla and Contender. I remember the conversation I heard when Pat Healy came to Niebuhr and said, listen, I'm going to create a center console brand. And I'm sure Joe wasn't excited about it. But together they realized that they're not really in the same, they are, but they aren't. You've got Viking, which is the master of the sport fish, the #1 boat manufacturer possibly in the world, in its class, for sure. Then you've got Contender, which was the performance horse. And then you didn't have anything like luxury in between. And that's where Valhalla fit that spot of that entry-level luxury performance center console. So Joe and Pat and everyone, seems to get along great. And that's what I really want to see more of in the industry, is more collaboration and less competition.
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there in my head about what you just said, because, number one, I mean, that's how we kind of look at it. Like, we don't really want to put up barriers. We want to connect and work with everybody,
For sure.
And at first on the outside, it was like, well, how can you possibly do that? I'm like, I don't know, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just going to keep true to my principles, and we're all just going to, what do they say? The rising tide lifts all boats, and kind of thing, and that's kind of the way we look at it. Really when it comes down to, that fit for Valhalla and where they stand, we looked at it. It's funny. John and I were just talking about custom, before, when we were, with the fender bender, right? We're like, well, let's look with custom. It's like, sometimes it can get very frustrating. And I'm like, this is why when we developed our custom program, our customer in that division of our company, because there's a lot of different layers of Connected by Water, is just really like the high-end sport fish or high-end tournament vessel, and that's all we service. Like in the beginning, it was like, everything we could grab and take, and it just got way too frustrating. And we're like, you know what? We see a need in the market for just focusing on that customer, being the concierge to that customer alone, and that's all. That's basically, when it comes to our custom division, that's really what we focus on.
Because of my technology past and being so into technology and seeing when it went from copper to fiber optics and all the equipment, I'm very technical now that I run a service department too. There's two things I'm gonna write this down. But technology is huge right now in our industry, and so many people are not embracing it.
Okay.
From
what regard?
Well, because a lot of fishing people, male or female, don't like to fish or are afraid of fishing. I hear it a lot in sales is because they get seasick. But now there's so many great products out there. You've got obviously, the father of it all, Seakeeper, and you've got Dometic now that's doing the gyro system. You have Seakeeper Ride. There's all these great technologies that keep the boat when it's at bay, it's just even when you're out there. So not everyone's getting seasick anymore.
It's probably one of the greatest inventions ever known to the industry.
Love you guys. Yeah. Thank you. I actually had a conversation with, I think it was Mike, who was in charge of sales for Seakeeper. I said, listen, you need a sign. Like, what is Seakeeper? Like,
we keep meaning to have we keep meaning to have them on the show. So
I love that.
By all means, let's connect that and make that happen.
So I said to them, you need a sign. Like the big no sign with the through it?
Right.
Because when you walk in the boat show, it says Seakeeper, but women don't know what Seakeeper means.
Yeah.
But if you have a big red, what is this thing called? Circle?
I call it the Ghostbusters symbol.
Right, exactly.
That's it.
And you put sick.
Yeah.
What person is not going to know, I'm going to go see this boat. I'm going to go see this booth. And so messaging is key for them. We need to really stress that everyone can fish now, given technology. Sonar versus kite fishing. Huge, technology there when you think about that. So we have advanced so much in that area. And then you talk
about Sonar's been a game changer,
right?
Especially in the big marlin tournaments.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible. And then you break down Auto Captain. Mercury's come out with Auto Captain. Love it. Have you seen it?
No.
I tested it at the Miami Boat Show, Fort Lauderdale Boat Show last year. Dave Folks, the CEO of Brunswick, and his team from Navico invited me on it. And it basically is perfect for the inexperienced boater or the experienced boater, but a lot for yacht tenders too. So you turn the auto captain on and you say, I want to go to, let's call it Pier 66 Marina, slip B6. And it puts it in there. And through all of their Freedom Boat Club networks that they have, they're able to really know all the marinas, because most of their boat clubs are at these marinas. So you put it in, not only will it, you drive there, but then it docks for you too.
No.
Yes. It docks
like a Tesla?
Yeah. It
really?
Docks it. It will pull up right.
Have you heard of this?
So let's say this is some cute, right?
Oh yeah, by the way, the wonderfully adorable gifts that have been provided.
I love these. I know. These are things I do at night when I have nothing else to do.
So heartwarming.
Oh, they're yours. But yeah, so, and also yacht tenders. Yacht tenders are all about experience. So you get your guests and your crew members into port, and then you're throwing lines, and it actually is like a red light that goes on and it beeps, and then all of a sudden it turns green, and it really just goes like this. Here's the dock, and then the boat just pulls right up against it, and then you let your people off, and then off it goes. So it's really an amazing.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Just because, even with a car, it's crazy to me, right? But with a boat, even more so.
Yeah.
Because of the conditions.
Correct. But you should never forget the foundation of learning how to drive a boat. But technology, God created men and women with a lot of brains to create technology. And now we're in this great era of boating. And people are like, I'm scared to boat because of qualified captain and wavy boats and stuff like that. But there's so many great technology, companies that help you become a better boater. And that's one of them. And let's talk about safety.
Okay.
Because safety is big, big, big for me, especially with what we've seen lately.
Right.
The gentleman in Miami and his girlfriend, she was thrown off the boat, and He did not have the kill switch on or the engine cutoff switch.
Right. You just talked about that the other day.
Yes.
Go into that, please.
When you talk about beauty, that woman was stunning, and not to discount anything, but it's a shame to see that because he was not wearing the engine cutoff switch, and granted they didn't have life jackets on either, and we'll get into that. Both were ejected off of the vessel, and it just kept going around, and basically he chopped his foot off, I believe, or a lot of it, and she basically perished in the accident. Totally not necessary. A $14.99, device could have prevented that. But even better is, I'm a Mercury dealer. I push Mercury a lot, but Mercury has, the first mate, Mercury first mate, and everyone on the boat gets a fob that's attached to them. Even the dog can get it on. So it's 7 that comes, I think, in the package. And yeah, so if anyone falls overboard, the engine shuts off. And then you're able to, because there's a lot of times
That's smart.
Yes.
That's great. I love that.
When you're going fast and you're driving and someone could fly off the back, you don't know. And you see it in wavy boats.
Right.
And qualified captain, a lot of people fall off and they don't
there
really
in the
know it.
world.
Yeah. So super important that everyone really cool means, I get it. Everyone wants to be cool and not wear the engine cutoff switch. But there's so many, because listen, you stand up, it kills the engine.
Yeah.
But there's so much new technology that allows you to have a watch and a fob that you're able to navigate around the boat and not have any issues with that cord.
Mm-hmm.
So look into that, people. There's so many great options, not just, Mercury, but there's a lot of companies out there that are doing that. And second of all, I get it. Life jackets, it says that,
Right.
But listen, there's fanny packs that you can wear, and they're not really ideal, but if you are ejected off of a boat and you're still conscious, you can pull the cord and then it allows you to float. So it just looks like a fanny pack. So at least I'm begging everyone to at least look into Mustang, and all the other brands that are out there, just to
Yeah, safety is a paramount concern, really. I mean, at all levels. I mean, boating, there's so many variables to it, right down to do you really know who's driving your boat that's got your life in your hands, and you're just in this bucket that's open to the world, and anything can really happen.
I know.
You could see something pop up, you can hit ground, you can hit something on the bottom you might not know is there.
True.
You know what I mean?
And I really thought about getting my 6-pack until I learned that as a captain, it's not just who's driving, but if I was on the boat as I'm a captain owning a 6-cap license, I'm liable, I'm responsible for anything that happens on that boat.
Yeah.
And so for me, I decided it's probably not the best thing for me, but, we had that accident of that mega yacht, who I'm talking about, that was in St. Bart's. I don't want to say their name, but we all know who it was, the captain. As the captain, you are responsible for your entire team, the guests, and you should not be partying with your crew. You should not be drinking and driving. There's great options. Athletic Brewing makes a great beer that tastes great. Find something that you can still be part of the group and still, be safe and get your team home safely. But that was an unfortunate situation that happened there as well.
And I will say this too. We talk a lot about yelling captains on the show, and is yelling the right thing? I mean, especially in a fishing circumstance, and more often than not, when we bring that topic up, it's when you got a fish on and you're whatever, and the captain's like, are you a yeller or are you speaking calmly? You know what I mean? And it's kind of like the general consensus that the better captains are the ones that aren't yelling at their anglers because they don't rattle them and they calmly bring in everything like that.
Well, there was that one captain that was screaming at that kid that ended up.
Oh, that one, yeah, that was
terrible. He went viral.
That was horrible. Yeah, but if you have a captain speak firmly to you, right, you got to really listen to that. Even if especially if it's off of a fishing situation, if you're not in a fishing situation and the captain speaks firmly to you, because he is the one that's responsible for all of it, and you're putting not only yourself in danger or other people in danger, you're affecting his livelihood as well. To be mindful of that thing. So if you have a captain, hey, or whatever, just, and you might think that guy's being a jerk, well, look at yourself and what are you doing wrong?
Right. Well, you could easily be drunk on a boat and walk past the throttles and, and the captain's got the boat under control, and all of a sudden it's not.
Yeah.
So it's not just the captain, but the guests need to be under control as well.
100%. Yeah, we talked earlier about you know, like women's role in the industry and the $1 billion number or anything like that. And you talking about keeping the seat at the table, right? And I really, this is one thing I really wanted to kind of tell you is I really appreciate your platform,
Thank you.
is because you have kind of established that in your platform, whether you want to say you're a force to be reckoned with and all this stuff like that, right? But you have basically established yourself as like, you know, there is more to the industry than meets the eye, right? And keeping that seat at the table is important. I think you really serve as an inspiration.
Thank you.
Right, to all women who are looking for a spot. Now, we have always promoted the female influence in our industry on this show, like right from the very beginning. Recently, we had like Emily Hanslick on the show as representatives of the ICF industry. Awesome, right?
Yes.
And and we have had plenty of people that have really kind of put forward that influence. What can you say if there's like another woman out there, or even like a young girl, yes, but like just another woman who's just like, maybe my husband fishes and I want to get in, or maybe I don't have a husband and I just want to get into fishing. Like, what inspiring words can you tell them?
Well, first of all, keep your clothes on. Super important. It's a man's world. Fishing, boating is a white man's sport. Let's just be real. It's our heritage. Our grandfathers, our fathers, they've all taught us how to boat and fish. But I've earned the respect by what I know and how I carry myself. Super important. My page could probably have a few million followers if I showed myself in a bikini, but I choose not to. And it's really about what's up here and my voice about the industry and mentorship and safety and everything else. And so it's going to take a little bit longer for me to get there, but you have to do it respectfully. And that's what's important. But you never want to have somebody say she won that business because of the way that she was dressed. Those words should never come out. It should be because she knows her stuff.
Right. 100%.
So, whatever profession inside the industry, if you think this is where you want to be, whether it's in marketing or mechanics or legal, whatever you choose, engineering, you have to be at the very best. You have to know your stuff. So when people say, "Oh, I'm like, what are you doing this weekend?" They're like, "Oh, I'm watching Netflix so-and-so series." You'll never find me watching and binging on Netflix, because what I'm doing is I'm on YouTube learning about how AI can help run my dealership, all about fishing, all about advocacy, all about being a better leader, just being a better mother. It's like I call it ABL, always be learning. And so if I could teach or tell any woman or man for that matter about how to succeed in this industry, is you have to learn. And
listen, I'm glad you just mentioned what you just mentioned, any woman or man, right? Because I asked you from the perspective of like, what would you tell other women?
yes,
Right. But really, I don't think that's where you're at.
no,
Right. And I'll put this as a real world example, like given your platform, part of the reason I ask you that is because I'm curious as well. Because I would love to have some of that knowledge. I would love to I have questions for you regarding that. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yes.
that's a good point that you just brought up.
just constantly learning. I did have to separate my personal life from Boat Boss, so it's Kim Sweers Unplugged on Instagram. That's more of my personal working out. You might see me in a workout outfit or whatever, but I truly try just to be respectful as a woman, as a public figure, and not really promote, the physical aspect of me. And then Boat Boss is all about the industry, the platform, sales, boats. You're going to see a lot more. We have a new partnership coming out. I've been an influencer for the FWC for a while, and the National Safe Boating Council.
Nice.
So we have a new...
tell me about that. That's interesting.
It's really great.
Yeah, that's cool.
I sort of just fell into it. I was a keynote speaker at an industry event in Dallas. Peg Phillips, who runs the National Safe Boating Council, walked up to me and said, "Incredible. I love it." It was about earning your seat at the table and building a brand. And she said, "We have the same name. It's my maiden name's Phillips."
Okay.
And she said, "We're obviously connected. You're Kim Phillips. I'm Peg Phillips. I have this event called Boating Summit, National Safe Boating Summit, and I want you to be a keynote speaker." So Aaron from Qualified Captain and I shared the stage, and You did a great job.
Aaron's such a great guy.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
And I love that. I was going to say earlier, I love what he's
Yes.
turned qualified captain into
Yeah.
is a focus on safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was something
rather than just some
yes.
sensationalism thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was just by us giving him feedback. We
Mhm.
just went to him and said, love what you're doing, but at the end, make it about learning.
Yeah.
And so he did. I'd like to see more of that in wavy boats. Wavy boats is still falling short. However,
Yeah.
inlet, you know.
I don't know if they'll ever. That is what it is. I don't know if that'll ever get there, but
I
yeah.
don't know. Yep. So
I mean, it's a
that's-
fun platform to watch.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
So I ended up becoming the keynote speaker at that one a year later, and all the players attend, the Coast Guard, Mercury, FWC, all the parks and rec around the country, they're all there. And so I was able to talk to a few companies that were like, I really want to have you as the face of what we do. And from there, FWC and the National Safe Boating Council became my partners. And the following year, I came back as the master of ceremonies for this summit.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. And then I brought the Philadelphia Eagles there at the closing.
Well, we won't hold that against you.
Because you know what?
I think Zach would like that, though.
Yeah.
Zach's from Philly.
Yeah, we had some really good, it was a great turnout, a great event. But you can never talk about safety enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to do everything down to like dog safety, kid safety,
Right.
carbon monoxide, like everything. We need to just talk more about it. Because if we don't get cost of ownership under control, which is like insurance,
Right.
insurance companies see wavy boats, qualified captain, all the, the ramp stories that you see.
The Miami boat ramp stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's why they're setting our premiums so high. is that
Yeah.
we have to really be focused more on safety.
You know, I have a 15-year-old daughter, right? Love her. She's awesome.
You
She's
should.
amazing, right? Super smart kid. We homeschool our kids, right? So we do a lot of different type of educating when it comes to our approach on the whole matter, right? And it's worked out very, very well. One of the cool things that she's done is that she's created a YouTube platform
Good
where
for
she's
her.
got like 22,000
Good for
followers
her.
or subscribers. Like,
That's
and
great.
she always like looks at me and laughs. It's the whatever. I'm like, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm
should.
like, I know, but I run an art studio too, so right. But
Yes.
but the thing is, like right now, it's mostly like Roblox videos that she makes and stuff like that. She's been doing it since she's like 12 years old, right? And she's done an incredible job with the platform. But I know that it's not always going to be Roblox for her, but she's going to have that itch to be able to keep growing a platform or developing something. She's got like at 15 years old, she has like a love for marketing already.
Good for her.
She really does. She jumps in and helps us out with Connected by Water. We're kind of teaching her how to make, e-blasts.
I might steal
and
her.
different things. Like you should. Like she's
You're a
great.
baby boat boss.
She's a hard worker. She's a hard worker. But my fear is keeping an eye on that. Right.
Yes.
And like you said, like, what advice would you give? Like, keep your clothes on.
Yes.
Like all this. Like, my fear is like, you got to be really, really on top of
Yes.
just be like, okay, keeping the perspective correct throughout all that platform. It's such a weird world we live in. We opened up almost talking about the difference between this generation coming up and keeping it tactile and all that like that. But there's also like this huge amount,
Yeah,
and it's ever changing, especially with AI,
I know.
with all the different influences that are coming for your children.
I know.
Scary.
It is scary. But the words that advice I would give her is focus on something like fishing. Really
Yeah.
get into tying up a line, or what hooks are best, or fish that she's catching. Storytelling is huge in what I built. So, find what her niche is and tell as many stories as she can and earn it organically. And second of all, there's so many tournaments. If she likes to fish,
She does.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
she does.
so many great tournaments out there for that Generation Z. Actually, I heard University of Alabama, they have a fishing team.
Yeah, they did.
They have the greatest bass fishing team in the country. There's Tennessee. There's tons of colleges. So if I could speak to the parents out there and that Gen Z, if you really, truly love fishing and you don't have, like, say, the greatest grades, or apply for a fishing scholarship, find those universities that truly put money and alumni support behind fishing and make a career out of it. I
Yeah.
mean, Jacob Wheeler, we're an icon boat sealer.
Okay.
And Jacob Wheeler this past weekend won $300,000 in a tournament. There's millions of
Wow.
dollars
Yeah.
all across. All the tournaments. You talk about them all the time. And so make it yes, you can have your 9 to 5, but also you can really have this whole nother life as an influencer or a guy that's just fishing or a girl that's fishing and just have fun with it.
Yeah, it's such a big fear. Like raising a daughter in this world right now, like
It
a
is.
teenage daughter, it's just like, ugh.
I know.
Like I don't know, maybe just because I'm being just like that kind of dad or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like my biggest, scariest thing.
I know. And
Yeah.
remember, as they say, culture is built not by words, but by actions. And so,
Love it.
same thing with parenting. My son, I try not to tell him what to do. He watches what I do.
Yeah.
And now, like, I have a whole whiteboard at my office and at home, and every few days the quotes change. And now he has one. And, you know, we talked about he works for City Furniture on the weekends.
Okay.
And the Koenig family, big boating family too. They have a fishing tournament, stuff like that. But they're all about culture, and finding a company that is the right fit for you. He doesn't want his people to work on weekends. He's all about elimination of waste, continuous improvement, and culture.
It's funny you bring up them because on the Sawgrass there you pass it, right?
it's huge.
And there's the big sign that says Kevin and there's the big sign that says Doreen.
Yeah.
Right. And you
Yeah.
pass it every single
Yes.
time. And at first, for the first few years, I would even say, because I think it was like kind of close to like 9/11 when that first Kevin, or recently after like the Iraqi war and all that one that went, or the
Mhm.
Afghanistan. And so we're thinking it's someone that went over there and fought.
No.
Right. And so I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
Because, like,
Huge history.
and then over
Yeah.
the years, I mean, you pass it all the time, going to Panther games,
Yeah.
like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden the name up there,
Yeah.
Doreen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait. So I actually went and I kind of looked it up, like what is
Yeah.
with that, right? And
Yeah.
then I read all about the story about what that meant, about the owners.
Yeah.
And how they left behind a legacy and a culture that was so strong, right?
Yeah.
And made that, like you're saying, that culture that built that company into
Yeah.
what it is now.
Kevin started Waterbed
It's
City.
inspiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he started Waterbed City, and then now Keith, his brother, took it over, and Doreen and Keith were married for many years. Doreen and I fought cancer together.
Really?
Yes, she was my rock during cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's no idea.
Yeah,
Wow.
when I checked in for my when you have cancer and then now you're in your radiation stage, they have to put tattoos on you to line up all the different beams on your
Okay.
body. And so I remember I wasn't getting treatment that day, but it was just coming to the realization that I'm going to have a permanent reminder of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I checked in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, crazy. And so I checked in to the hospital, and it was 7:15 in the morning, and I was by myself, and they said, "Yes, may I help you?" And I just started crying.
Oh,
I didn't even say my name. And then this lady comes up behind me and she's like, "It's Doreen Koenig." And I knew of her from the community, but not like how I really knew Doreen. And she and I became the closest friends through our cancer journeys. Unfortunately, she had triple negative breast cancer, which is very risky, and it's not a very good survival rate. I had estrogen receptive, ER positive. But regardless of the cancer brought us together. It brought me together very close to the whole Koenig family. And I love the relationship that Doreen had with her son, Andrew, is the same relationship I have with my son, Chase. And now that Chase is now working for Andrew. So it's just like a
that's
weird,
full circle moment. Yeah.
full
that's
circle.
great.
Yeah. And so my son is very into just corporate security, cybersecurity and computer science and everything about elimination of waste, problem solving. Same mindset as Andrew. So Andrew's more of like my son's mentor, if you will.
That's great.
So I really want to give a
That makes me
thank
feel
you.
good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. That's
They're such a
story.
great family, and they give 5% back of all of their revenue to philanthropic causes in the community. A great family.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love hearing, like, I didn't even know that much. That's
Yeah.
great. I love hearing that.
I'm just a wealth of information.
Yeah. Apparently, Kim. No, you're a wealth of a lot of things. You know what I mean? You got a huge heart. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you're just inwardly and outwardly just such a beautiful person.
Thank you
Right.
very
And
much.
I'm like honored that you came in
Thank you.
to hang out
It's
with me.
been an
and spend
honor to
some
be on the
time,
show. Because I mean, I've been wanting to be on your show for so long, and I don't really get asked to do a lot of podcasts because they're like, "Oh,
Really?
But just ask. I would love to be on
I
podcasts.
could see
Yeah.
that. Like, but you opened the door for me where you're like, share your content of when I was doing that turtle.
I know, right?
And I was like, really? Okay, cool.
Yes, because
I'm like, come on the show.
we all have to collaborate. And I saw that go up, and we were talking. It was 30 degrees, and you were painting, dude.
So I wasn't even like, my wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have a schedule. I'm trying to keep a schedule, right? I was like, I just want to have benchmarks that this day, the whole thing scheduled that. And plus, the NSU is like, we want it up and done by a certain date. And I'm like, I got to hit it, And when I woke up it was like 30 degrees.
I can't believe you did it.
And by the time I got to the wall, it was 36 degrees. And by the time the sun came up till like 10 a.m., it was like 45 degrees, right?
Still cold.
I had never painted outside in that cold weather. Like, if you're from up north, you're probably laughing at me. I don't know, but this Florida native just, no, right? Literally, my fingers were numb. Right? Just painting and everything. And I had to put the surgical gloves on just to keep the warmth in and everything.
Well, it turned out
because
great.
I can't really paint in like fluffy gloves.
No, you can't. You can't feel. It's like a surgeon. You can't do that.
So it was like, So
it's such a meaningful piece, for Nova Southeastern. I want to also give hats off to them, props to them because of everything they're doing for the ocean.
They do amazing things in our community.
They do.
Right. They do amazing things for the blue economy, and they speak of that.
Yes.
Right. And about their program and say there are more things to do in the marine industry and in the marine sciences that benefit the economy, and they talk openly about that. And I think that's a great thing because I don't think enough people do talk about that. When they talk about marine sciences and they talk about conservation, they mainly go, oh, we need to save it for our future generations, which is true, which is obvious. Right? Yes, of course. That's why we're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the future generations. Everyone says it like they came up with this unique idea. No, that's what we say. That's what we do. That's why we do it. However, there's also the arm of, as human beings, we need to create a healthy economy, right? It matters to the world. It matters to our health that the economy is good, right? It matters to our well-being that the economy is good.
And our ocean is good.
The ocean's health that the economy is good.
Absolutely.
Right?
And they've cured...
Stewardship.
Yes, absolutely. And because of the reefs, the Florida Reef, and all the barriers that they're working on to keep healthy, fishing will be around for a long time. We're not overfished because of how healthy our ocean is and because of them. But I do want to give a shout out to Harry Moon, Dr. Harry Moon.
Yeah.
He's recently taken over. George retired, and I'm a big NSU fan on the innovation side and everything that they do in our community. But Dr. Harry Moon, if you follow him on LinkedIn, that man is at every basketball game, football game. Like, he is all about culture.
Yeah.
And there's no longer a separation between the CEO and the president of the university to the front line or the students. And you're going to see a big transformation, even more so than what George brought and his team. What Harry is doing there, Dr. Moon, is incredible.
That's great. That's great to hear. That's great.
Really
Listen, I learned a lot about the way NSU is changing through this project. Right. So originally I got linked to the whole NSU thing through Starmark, which is the agency that handles like their account. And I got linked to and instantly when I connected with NSU, it was a beautiful marriage. Like, we got along with everybody over there. A bunch of great people running that organization. From an artist standpoint, it was an honor to paint the side of the Fort Lauderdale Museum of Art. Right? Think about that. Right? The East Wall.
And you don't get arrested for doing it.
Seriously. Right? I mean, I grew up as a kid going to that museum, seeing different, shows and exhibits and everything like that. So to be able to paint the side of the wall, I mean, come on. Right? As someone who grew up in Broward County.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're a native too, right?
Yeah, huge moment for me.
So we have that in common, and then your podcast started. I think you were before
you're
me.
native. You're native.
Born and raised.
You're the proud.
Whoop,
nice.
305. Yes, but think about it. I mean, I thought I was one of the first podcasters in the industry. You were. But you started in 2019.
When we started the podcast, I had quit my day job probably about 14, 15 years ago, right? And I used to work in the music business. I was a creative director in the music business. Nice. I worked for $1 billion company. Oddly enough, that company was in this corporate park.
Oh, wow.
Right? No one realizes in Coral Springs, Florida, was the world's largest distributor of CD, DVD, Blu-ray, all that.
Wow.
Right?
So what's your favorite type of music?
See, that's the thing.
You don't have it,
All
like
of
it
it.
all?
Like
Yeah.
I take the Miles Davis theory on that one, where every genre has great music and every other genre has bad music.
True.
Right? If it's good, it's good. There's no way of getting around it. It's just like art, right?
Yes.
There's all different kinds of art in the world,
True.
right? And if it's good, you know it. Especially from another artist's eye. It may not be my thing, but that's a really good piece. I would never paint that.
Yeah.
That's really well done, right? So that's
Right.
kind of the same.
You're like an art connoisseur.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you just got to recognize talent at the end of the day. It's important to recognize talent. It also might humble you as an artist too, to be like, okay, recognize other people's talent. I think it's a healthy thing.
Yeah, just give gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really all it comes down to, right?
It makes you feel good too.
100%. 100%.
I like you.
Right?
I appreciate you.
See, thanks, Kim. I like you too. So I didn't even know where I was going with that. So yeah, I used to work in the music business for years, and I don't even know why I was telling you that, but that's okay. At the end of the day, like, it's a podcast.
Yes.
Talking about the podcast I was. So
You
when
started.
I quit my day job, I was gonna just open up the studio at home, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just have a little studio here in Coral Springs. It's just a place to get out of the house. And we were just starting to have kids, like the whole thing like that. And I would just listen to so much music all the time, but then eventually I started listening to some podcasts, and while I'm painting, because you don't want to be listening to the same old music, whatever. You just want to hear people talking, and I just got to thinking, I'm like, I could do this, because I was having so many of my friends in the industry just stop by the studio. And they were driving all the way out to Coral Springs, like from Pompano, from Lighthouse Point, from Jupiter. And they're like, hey, I'm going to roll by. I'd love to see your studio. I want to hang out. And they would come and they would hang out for like an hour or two, and I wouldn't get any work done. But we were having the best conversations. And I'm like, I need to record this.
Exactly.
Right? Like let's just say, for example, like even like we were on the phone the other day, or like right when you came and sat down, we were just talking.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, that could have been a podcast too. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, I need to bottle that up. Right. So whatever, we just had the idea. We talked to John, and like, we were able to get it going, and and here we are.
Rogan, Andrew Huberman.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the most successful, Tony
So
Robbins.
it was mostly Rogan was what I was listening to at the time. It was back in 2019. And I looked around and I said, I want to start a podcast. I told my wife this. She's like, why do you want to do that? I go, you want to know the main reason why I want to do it? Is because I'm always about trying to do something that no one else has ever done before.
You're a disruptor.
I'm looking around the world.
Yeah.
And I don't see another fish painter that has a podcast.
Right.
And we don't even really talk about art on the show that much. We're talking more about just community and fishing and whatever, and just boats and like all the other kind of stuff that I love. You know what I mean? But it's like, when people want to talk art, I'll talk art with them, but I'm not going to try to shove it down their throats.
It's just your personality. You're very, open. We have great conversation. Not everyone has that capability. So for me, I love to talk. So a podcast was a no-brainer.
Right. And I love people.
Right,
I really am a very gregarious person. And
Yeah.
I just love hearing everyone's story. And I just think it's the
Bingo.
most interesting
love it.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Really. And at first, I tried to structure these things, and John and I would talk about it. And then I think he actually said that to me, like after like the 5th episode. He's like, maybe you might not want to do that anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, just talk. He's like, you're a good conversationalist. He goes, just don't. He's like, maybe it's a little too structured. So once we got off the structure, I think is really when the show really just started becoming comfortable for me.
Absolutely.
Because
Well, it's like just like having like dinner with somebody, or like you're just sitting and having a conversation versus it being so structured.
yeah, right.
Just let it go.
Yeah, and
Go with the flow.
And I don't think I want to do that, and I don't think people want to hear that. Like, look at here. Like, I used to have, like when I first started, I had a page full of bullet points. This stuff I have to read because it's like my
Right.
thing I got to
Yes.
do for the thing. That's the same
Yes.
thing every time. I just change the names, whatever like that. But I got like 5 bullet points for you, and it's just like, and I never even look at it.
I know.
You know what I mean? And
It's good.
it got to a point where it's just like, I don't even know why I do these bullet points anymore. You know what I mean? Because we talked about all the thing on this list within the first 10
I know, right?
before I even get a chance to look at it. I'm like, okay, list is done.
Well, it's really been awesome. And if I can drive home any point, is that we have to lead with safety.
Yeah.
Super, super important. And then not just that, just like from the engine cutoff switch to the life vest to the carbon monoxide detectors, everything has to be it's not just one thing, it's many things, because we all want to make sure that people survive, they get home safely.
Right.
You know, having a plan, letting a person know that, hey, I'm getting out here and I'll be back then. It's little things like that are super important. And then also sustainability of our industry.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, you know, the dealership model is being threatened right now. Let's be honest. We're getting our squeezed, if you
Right.
will, because
My
demand
father-in-law has a dealership in New Jersey. Trust me, I know
tough.
all about it.
So the manufacturers right now, that's a whole nother thing we can go off on, but the
Right.
manufacturers are eating tariffs right now. The tariff that we're seeing an increase in the manufacturing costs. They're eating that too,
Mm-hmm.
because the dealership is so stressed right now that we can't even afford another 3, 5, 10% increase, especially after the pandemic. So the manufacturers, it's just one big squeeze right now.
Right.
And so how do we get people in boating? How do we keep them in boating, and get them home? And so it's really just having a voice, whether it's your local commissioners or your state senators, or Florida House of Representatives, whatever. Talk to them. Tell them you're suffering. Tell them what's going on. Tell them, hey, listen, luxury tax won't work because of this. Tariffs are hurting me because of this. The cost of ownership is preventing people from buying boats. We need our voice to be heard in order to keep our industry strong. And then that next generation, how do we get them involved? Make it fun.
Right.
Fishing.
You just took the words right out of my
Fishing.
out of my
Yeah.
mouth. Like boom, you hit the nail on the head. Like, well said what you just mentioned, right? But I was also going to say, let's remember to remind people that we're all in it for the fun.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client that said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with the boating industry. This was last week. He was looking at a boat. I know he'll be back. He was just having a moment,
Mm-hmm.
complaining about how much it costs to fix a little thing on the boat, or for service, or for how much it costs to detail. Yes, it is expensive to own a boat, but the financial institutions allow us to take loans out to 20 years. There's a lot of creative financing out there. There's boat ownership where you can do fractional, like you and I. We seem to like each other. We like fishing. We might not boat at the same time. Well, why don't we own a boat together? So let's do a fractional ownership. We'll throw in John too, all three of us.
You ready,
own a
John?
boat.
Yeah?
Right?
All right.
So consider fractional ownership. And there's so many great programs out there that you can manage your schedule so that everybody shares in the maintenance, shares in the gas, shares, in the usage of the boat. Again, boat clubs, big way to get into boating.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not doing enough of that. And that Gen Zer that's afraid of boating, get your kid for Christmas, when they turn 20-something years old, a boat membership at one of these Freedom Boat Club or Carefree, and let them learn how to boat, and maybe what boat they'll look at when they do want to own a boat.
Yeah. And I would say, honestly, take a boater's course.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to, if you're
Because
born
even-
after
even if-
1988.
Even if you're an experienced boater, right? And let's say you're experienced boater, maybe you haven't had a boat in a while, and guys get a new boat, your family gets a new boat. You think you know what you're doing. No problem. Maybe you do, right?
Yep.
But I would take it with your whole family, right? You be the leader of the pack and be like, listen, we're going to take this boating class together. I want you to hear it from somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I've never played hockey before, right? So when I try to tell my kid something about hockey, he looks at me like, you don't play hockey. Why are you telling me this? I'm like, but I've played 4 sports growing up. It's
all
the same.
here. It's
Yeah,
mindset.
whatever. But he
Yeah.
doesn't want to listen. But when he hears it from one of the other coaches,
Of
he
course.
listens, right?
Yes.
So take the boater course. Have them tell your family the proper ways to operate a boat or be on a boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think it'd be
absolutely.
beneficial.
Yeah, there's great ways to get on the water. It doesn't cost, what everyone's so freaked out about how much it costs to, own a boat. But there's so many great ways to be
Yeah.
on the water, whether you go on someone else's boat, a friend, or fractional ownership, or a boat club.
Mhm.
Just do it. Get on the water. There's nothing better than a lifestyle on the water. I love that saying.
We're all connected by water.
That's right.
Listen, we talk about like meaning, giving meaning to it all, right? And so if I can kind of sum up our perspective on that, and we talked a lot about cancer and diseases and life-altering situations, right? One of the things I learned early on is I'm creating art. I am not curing diseases, right? What am I doing for the world? You know what I mean?
Yes.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
is it necessary? Is it needed? It's debatable. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is when you're sitting on a table and you're about to have a surgery. You tell me if art is necessary at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what is necessary is community, and a healthy community, and a community that supports things like that, right? And that's what we want to achieve is Connected by Water, and that's really why we started Connected by Water. And I'm not just Dennis Friel.
I love it. No, I love it. I love it. And again, the community is so strong, from the NMMA, from really the White House to the NMMA, to the Marine Retailers Association of America, to our local industry, from Marine Industries Association of South Florida,
and Phil and all them, and
all of them, you know, they're all out there doing the
Lori.
advocacy work. Yes.
Yeah.
And so hats off to all of you guys. We appreciate you, and we have to work together as a community. As you say, it's not just their job, it's our job too, to get involved and to use our voices. And if you are a boater, tell your local commissioner, tell your representative or your senator how much gas prices are and it's keeping you at the dock, or tariffs or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Because they need to hear how we're being, you know, strained. The industry is at a crossroad right now.
Yeah. I mean, I believe in it, though.
Of course.
I believe in it. I believe it's going to be, we're going to be in that heyday once again. You know,
it might look a little different.
Might
It might look a little
different,
smaller.
Well, that's it.
you
That's
know?
the evolution of culture and time, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's relative to anything.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the future's bright, you know, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we all have to boat smart from the start and enjoy lifestyle on the water
I love it.
and get home safe.
I could talk to you forever.
Right? I think we
I
could.
really could. You're going to come on the show more?
I'm going to sit right next to you and host someone.
Awesome.
I would love that. We can be like Regis and Kathy Lee. And
I love it. We can have the coffee mugs with our names on
right?
it.
I think so.
You want to do
Yeah. Well,
I'm
Art
not
Boss
kidding.
and the Boat Boss.
That's it. Awesome. I don't want to get in trouble, though, with any suit company.
Right. Hugo Boss might come after you.
Kim Sweers, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks,
today.
Dennis.
Thank you for coming all the way out to the
Hey,
Everglades to
it's
see me
okay.
through
It
all
was-
the
it was-
hoops and jumps that you had to do to get
It was
like,
not that
the
bad of a
morning
drive.
commute.
I do a lot on the drive. I listen to a
Yeah.
lot of great podcasts and learn a lot, so it wasn't too bad. But thank
Nice.
you.
Nice.
Enjoy your little gifts. I hope.
Yeah, they're going to
Right
go
up
right
there.
here. They're going to go on the shelf. They're going to stay
I
there.
love it. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines. And yeah, always be a boss on the water.
There you go.
God, I feel
They're going to
honored.
stay there.
I
They're
made
going to stay there.
I made it for the wall.
They're going to stay there.
Thank you.
Right there. And that's where they'll always stay.
Okay.
We'll make sure they're in the camera. John's looking at the camera angle. Are they in the camera angle? Can you see them?
I think so.
I will make sure that we can see them. So
Well, I look forward to hosting. Maybe sitting back in the seat, but I would love to come out here and help.
yeah, no,
you.
it's happening.
'Cause I love to
it's
talk,
official.
as you can tell.
Yeah, it's official.
It's
yeah.
like the two of us together, we could go for hours.
That's it. And then we're gonna do great things. We're gonna do great things.
That's right.
All right. At the Boat Boss.
I'm
Right.
at the Boat Boss, yes, on Instagram, the Boat Boss on Facebook, at the Boat Boss on TikTok. It's just basically the Boat Boss everywhere where you look.
Right. You're right. And buy a Contender.
Yes, Contender, Viking,
We'll make sure
Valhalla,
out for it.
3 of the brands that we support the most. Definitely love them all.
Yeah. Awesome.
And
so do we.
Mercury, Yamaha, we're all about propulsion as well.
The
We didn't even talk about electric. We'll do that in another show.
We'll do it on our show. We
Yeah,
can
we'll talk about
it
whole
right now
new-
if you want, but I think it would be out of context.
Yes,
so
for sure.
We'll do that another time. We'll do that on the next episode. We'll open up with electric.
Yeah, there's the
We'll open up
first
electric.
hydrogen-powered mega yacht in the world that just launched. So I want to talk about that. Bring more yachting into because there's a lot of yachts that the tenders are, the owners are fishing, maniacs. And so we
Yeah.
can talk about bringing that whole market together.
I love it. Definitely. All right.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Stay
sounds good.
cool.
Yeah. Stay
See you on the
cool.
water.
All right. We're gonna end this like we always do. Your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best, and at the end of the day, just let God do the rest. And do not ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we are all connected by water.
Amen.
Thank you, Kim.
Bye, Dennis. Take care. Stay cool.